This video I'm going to talk about all the different things you can use to repair blow molds that are cracked, broken, whatever. We'll start with the most basic and probably well known, the glue gun, where you basically just glue the two pieces of plastic together. The plus is that it's relatively fast and it will hold for a while. Bad thing is it will turn yellow and eventually it will crack and come off. I try and stay away from using that, even though I went and bought this fancy one just to see how well they worked. I didn't like it. So that's basically just taking up space in my storeroom, in my blow mold hospital here. Second thing is this stuff called Bondic. It's supposed to be a miracle fix. If you look on their videos and things online, it says it'll basically fix anything, and it will to a degree. Basically, you have a tube here of the liquid. You take the cap off, squeeze out just a little bit of liquid onto what you are fixing. Put the cap back on. Then you turn on this ultraviolet light. This one may have actually gone dead. I've had it for a while. But this puts out an ultraviolet light. You can't see it because it's, I guess, the battery in it's dead. But you hold this on there for about 5 or 10 seconds on each side and very slowly go along the crack, exposing it to the ultraviolet light. And it's recommended that you do it from both sides if you can, and it will supposedly hold it. Well, you notice the tip turned purple, so I guess it is working. Thing about it is, I'm not real crazy about it, excuse me, unless the plastic is real thin and nothing else seems to work. But it's relatively cheap and it will work. The third most well-known method is using epoxy. There's a lot of different kinds of epoxy. There's Gorilla Glue, makes a two-part epoxy. E6000, which is the one that I like to use. JB Weld makes one. A Gorilla Glue, it's in two parts. You squirt both parts into this little tray that they provide, mix it up real good, and they give you a handy little tool right here you can use to apply it. You just scoop some out and kind of like a little miniature putty knife. And it sets in about 5 to 10 minutes, which is a good point. The E6000 takes hours before it will set reliably where things can't get bumped out of place. The E6000, it's one part. What I like to do is take the top off, squeeze just a little to where it comes out there, take a little toothpick or a scrap piece of plastic, dab out just a little bit of the epoxy, put it on whatever's cracked. I'll just wipe that on this note card. And then get a little more and go along the crack. You can use either one or any epoxy on broken areas too. I'll have a video on that. Patching holes. Another method is to use thermoplastic pellets. This is just one brand. There's several brands on Amazon that you can buy. You basically just follow the directions and you can make things out of it. You can use it to patch holes. It's just pellets. And once you heat them, it makes a little blob, and then you can mold it to whatever shape you need. The thing about doing patching blow molds with it, patching holes, you can do a large area, large hole pretty easily. The thing is, the pellets themselves don't adhere to the plastic, so you have to take, let's say this is one side of a hole on a blow mold. You have to take the pellets, when they're heated, they turn clear and they're moldable. You have to take it and sandwich the edge of the blow mold with it. You have to be sure and get both sides real good. Press it on there, and you can go all the way around the hole. And you can, if you can get to the inside, you can kind of mold it to the shape of the blow mold. You can curve it. You can put little indentations in it, grooves or whatever. You can paint it once it's hardened, and it doesn't take long. If you screw it up, you can take your hair dryer or heat gun and heat them back up while they're still on the blow mold and try and fix whatever's wrong with it. I'm gonna make a video using these on some large holes. I haven't used that before, so I'm not sure how it'll turn out. Hopefully it'll work. I have seen people's comments on Facebook where they patched holes with this and then I guess put it in their attic or a unair conditioned storage building, and it got really hot. And when this stuff gets hot, it will sag or discolor or whatever. So that'll be interesting to see if it actually does that. But there'll be a video about this. Another way you can do it is using a 3D pen. This is just your basic, I don't even remember what brand it is, but it's just a cheap one off of Amazon. You run the filament through this hole. You can adjust the speed that it feeds it through. You push these buttons and it will push it in, or you can back it out once you're through. It comes at this tip. This tip heats the filament. And this is some of the filament. Comes in all different colors. Just make sure you get the right size filament for your pen. If you decide to go that route or want to experiment with it. I've used this on a few. I didn't have great results, so I don't much use this anymore. I don't know if it's something I wasn't doing right or what, but I prefer to weld them if possible. So I set that aside. Another thing is called an Ote stick. It's a plumber's putty. Not one that's open. It's great for using on areas that are not lit, like the bottom of a blow mold that's probably cracked and torn up from being staked. It comes in a round shape just like this. If you notice, it's two different colors. It's simple to use. You just cut off a little piece. I'm just going to sacrifice this. You got the dark gray and then the almost white on the outside. Sometimes there's a film on it. Make sure you pull that film off that's on here. And you just knead it together. See, some of this is already dry, so I'm not sure if it'll blend in or not. You just knead it with your fingers and mix it together, and it will turn kind of a gray. Just keep working it until you don't see any of the dark part anymore. So there's still some on there. Like I said, some of that was dried out, so it's not mixing up real well. I'm going to put this back in the tube so it doesn't dry out anymore. And then once you get it to where it's as uniform as you can get it, you just kind of flatten it out. It will adhere to the plastic by itself. You don't have to do anything to it. Just take it, press it on there, press it onto the plastic real good. And you can mold it to whatever shape you need. And we'll start setting it after a few minutes. You can make it curve outward. You can have it curve inward. You can put like a groove in it. Whatever you need, you can make it flat. Just kind of watch it for a few minutes until it starts setting. You can kind of press the ends in real good. Make sure that you press it onto the plastic good. Once it's set, the only bad thing about it is light will not shine through it. So you only want to use this on areas that are not lit or that you don't really not that concerned about, like the bottom edge. This would have worked on this shepherd that I had to fill a stake hole in because it was down at the bottom edge where nobody's really going to see it anyway. And once it's completely hardened, you can paint it, you can drill holes in it. Some people use this on the bottoms of deer, the reindeer, where the mounting block goes. This one is going to the repaint shop. His block is okay, but a lot of them, they're always cracked right here where the screws go in. Usually the bottom is cracked. You can take that and pretty much make a new mounting block if you want to out of the Ote stick. And then you can drill holes into it for the screws to go into. You can paint it or whatever. It takes a few minutes for it to completely harden. But you can see it sticks on its own. It's just doesn't let light go through, so you're not going to want to use it. You could use it on like the hat of a snowman because they're painted black and light's not going to shine through them anyway. But you're not going to want to use it on a white area or a colored area that it's going to be illuminated because the light won't shine through. So that's the Ote stick. You can find it in the plumbing area of Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere that sells plumbing supplies. Then the next way is welding with a soldering iron. This is just your basic soldering iron. I don't even remember where I bought it, but it wasn't but a few dollars. It's got a tip. It came with a little flat tip too, but I don't know where it is. That screws in there. I think this one comes out, but to replace them. This is sold at Harbor Freight for plastic welding. It's got a couple of different tips. You just take this set screw out, and this comes out. Put in one of the other tips if you like it. I don't think it's necessary. This triangle part, it's too big for most things on blow molds, but you can, if you have a large, pretty flat area, you could use this to smooth it out, but I wouldn't go to the expense of just buying one. You could, once you get the plastic hot, you could take just a thick piece of paper or a piece of scrap plastic that's hard, cut a flat edge on it, and run that across there and probably have just as good a result. But I've got it. I may use it once in a while. That's about it. As you can see, this Ote stick is getting harder. You can sand it, you know, if you're that concerned about it. Like I said, you can drill it, you can paint it, whatever you want. And that's just a few ways you can fix cracks, holes on your blow molds. I don't know if you can see that last part. And if you like the video, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you want. I'll have other videos on using epoxy, thermoplastic pellets, and if I have something I can use the Ote stick on, I will make one using it. But the 3D pen and the bonding, I probably won't bother with. But thanks for watching.